Hello, this is Wendy. In this formative review, I will go through my Unit 3 research process and share my latest research update. My current research question is by looking at Chinese culture and emotional objects. How can I conduct visual research to understand the way emotion shows itself in Chinese families? I keep developing my research question, hoping to narrow it down and make it more clear. For example, from the culture aspect of my research question, I went through the path from stating general reserved Asian culture to Chinese culture, and currently I feel more interested in culture-based metaphors and emotional objects. As Bob Rubin said, the role of cultural beliefs and norms are easily being overlooked by researchers, while it impacts a lot to people's behavior and personal characteristics. Also, collectivistic culture, stating the whole society and community's value, is more heavier than personals. In Asian countries, personal emotion and behavior might be easily seen as unimportant. After the mapping workshop, I started to mapping my initial thoughts related to cultural metaphors and the emotion it represents. Blossomed flower also can be seen as a sign of young girl or joy emotion, and this metaphor is often associated with love relationship in Chinese culture. Inspired by my previous long exposure photography works, I used negative film effect to represent the subtle emotion nature, and then I tried to use different background layers and randomly changed color. Somehow like girl's emotion is under complex movement. In order to know more aspects of connection between Chinese culture and people's emotion, I found Chinese philosophy, the Confucian and Taoistic theory of seeking the perfect, harmonious atmosphere leading people away from expressing their emotions openly. Some visual examples also show how rules locked humans' behavior and expressions in China, like students are forbidden to have relationship before university age. Some schools even separate the sitting area of boys and girls. In this experiment, I chose to visualize the fake perfect harmony influenced and created by our social rules. I use ice cube to visualize and represent how Chinese social rules and philosophies that lock and limit our emotion expression. To reduce self-assumption, I interviewed few Chinese people about how they think about the relationship between people's emotion, expression, behavior, and our culture. Most of them agree that Chinese people have a habit of hiding their emotions, especially in front of their families and people they care about. They always want to show they are good. They also mentioned that Chinese people's emotions are expressed more through actions than words. In this inquiry, I wanted to try whether I can bring typography as a way to show implicit emotion. I took some typography projects as example. I enjoyed the effect that they use for telling some subtle spirit, and I think it related to the emotion that I want to transfer to a visual language. So I connect this kind of typography effect with Chinese proverbs, telling some good news rather than the bad, which is a sentence that we use to describe our communication with parents and family members usually. However, I don't think I translate the emotion clearly, as I think it's still very abstract and hard to communicate with audience about what kind of emotion and culture that I want to show. During Tommy's workshop, I learned typology as a method to organize my materials, so I use it as a method in this inquiry, object representation of hidden emotion. I want to know what hidden emotion look like in Chinese community. I collected different objects related to people's hidden emotion. For example, here are different blessing objects that my mom got me when I left home in different times. By collecting them together, I feel her love and cares that she didn't speak a lot. So I think objects can be another way to transfer people's subtle emotion. Another emotional object I collected is letters. Looking at these letters, I feel writing is a good way for people to speak out their emotions that they rarely mentioned. The pentagram designer, Nash, who used graphic mapping on the text survey. Using this way, I try to express that letters can build up memory, emotional connections between the givers and the receivers. So what if we applying action to the design? The Joy Project and our Research as a Verb workshop inspire me to thinking in this way. My format maybe could be a set of paper material or a playful design tool curated by people's emotions. For example, folding a paper plan and shooting out. I'm wondering, can this action also become a way of resisting our emotions? I tried to analyze the content of these letters, especially family letters. I found even the sentences they wrote are quite normal. When reading them, they move me easily. I think this might be the power of the language. So this time I tried to play with the content itself, the language. I gathered the sentence from parents and children from the letters that I collected. I was inspired by different projects of how they use color block to create a simple, strong graphic impression, and I hope this can bring more power to these home letters. I also texted a bit with changing the format of this sentence. What if creating them as a handbook encourage Chinese people, especially with their family member, to speak up their love, care, apology, blend, or anything. I feel I'm gradually narrowed to family relationship area in my project. However, I haven't looked deeply into some rituals related to special family moments. For example, looking into amulet objects, also coming of age rituals in my hometown or of garden. Also will be a visual research that I want to go to do next. That's all. Thank you.